right, you guys, good morning. Trisha Turner here. It's Rise and Thrive, running just a few minutes behind, but that's okay because we're here. Rise and Thrive means rise up. Like, we want you to rise up, get some info on how to be successful in faith, family, fitness, finances, all things that are super important to me. And so every week we're here at 9-ish Central Time on Tuesdays to bring you a guest that's kind of killing it in one or all of those core principles there. So I have super cool Joe Brikman with me today. Joe is all over the place on social media. If you're not following him, you definitely need to. Joe, if you could give everybody a little bit of a backstory, like what you're doing, how long you've been doing it, and where you are.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm really, really excited. I see everything that you're doing on social media, and I think it's awesome. So really, really love that. And my name is Joe. I'm out here in Miami. We're out here selling, a lot of homes, a lot of buildings, a lot of properties, just doing a lot of things to help people. Miami is a market that is mixed, right? So it's really between people who live here. We actually have the largest amount of absentee owners in the United States that all own properties here. So a lot of people that buy properties here, they're not necessarily looking to live here full time. Sometimes they'll buy them for investments, or sometimes they'll actually buy them for, just to be able to come and visit. So being able to help them both maintain them, sell them, recognize equity and things like that is something that I found a very strong passion here. Recently, I started working with more commercial investors as well. So things like warehouses and restaurants and storage facilities and all that type of stuff. And it's been really exciting because, when you show up from a mindset of how can I help you versus what do I need to do in order to get you off my checklist, it becomes much more gratifying and much more exciting to actually run and partake in the business every day, because no 2 days are the same. And we're able to show up in a way where no matter what we're being faced with every single day, we have a proven process and a system that we can always end up falling back on, which gives us the opportunity to be able to continue delivering for our clients.
I love that. And if I remember right, you're not from Miami, are you?
No, so I actually grew up in New York. I like to say that I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I was raised in Miami. I left when I was 18 years old. I kind of booked a one-way ticket from a boarding school that I was at. And I ended up here, right? Because the movie Bad Boys 2 was like the only movie I had watched growing up. And that was a movie that really, really spoke to me. So I packed up. I ended up over here. In the beginning, I settled down on the beach for a little bit. Most people, when I say the beach, they're like, oh, yeah, Miami Beach. No, the literal beach, like the sand. Figured my way around, learned sales, learned how to start helping people, and, started understanding that a lot of what success really is, it's, the recognizing and the ability to be able to find problems that people are having and provide worthwhile solutions.
One thing I think it's super cool. Number one, you guys, Joe, you've been in real estate 4 years, right?
Yeah, coming up on 4 years on election day.
Okay, so y'all, in the past 4 years, I've known Joe a couple of years now, and I've watched him grow and scale his business. I've also watched him, though, step back from his business to go handle things that are near and dear to his heart, and his business continues to thrive, which I think is super freaking cool. One of the things that you did, which I admire completely, is you went to Israel to fight. Can you talk about that and like what inspired you to do that, and what was that? What was all that about?
Sure. It's actually funny. A lot of the podcasts that I'm on, people like want to jump right into that. And I'm totally cool with it, because the reality is that I was in a very unique position to where most people would have considered what I've done maybe a form of business suicide, where I basically just had this whole fully operational business running. We're on pace to close out the year with over $100 million in total volume. And I just picked up and bounced. So my answer to that is, first of all, none of that really mattered to me at the time, because, a big focus of who I am as a person and my core values are honoring commitments, and, really being able to look at yourself back in the mirror at the end of the day and say, hey, did I do everything that I committed to, at the end of the day? And one of the things that I did when I served, so I was active duty in the paratroopers and the IDF from 2018 to 2020. I ended up leaving a bit earlier than my fully, committed service, because of the fact that COVID hit. So, I had finished like the total conscription of the 18 months, and I was going to do another 6 months, but the unsureness of where everything was, was really just pushing me more to get to a space where I was like, okay, like I don't think this would be a good idea right now. And I ended up agreeing to signing an agreement with the Army that I would extend out to what was called reserve duty. So instead of being active duty, in the event that I'd have to come back or do something, I would be able to get called back. And, no one ever really thinks that that would happen. But, on that day, October 7th of last year, my phone blew up and I started seeing, what everybody was seeing on the news. And, without even thinking twice, this was Saturday morning. By Saturday evening, I was on a plane. I actually took the last flight out of Miami. One of the last flights out of America headed towards Israel. We landed there. And it was total chaos. Like it literally, it was a war zone. Like half the country, even right now is literally like a war zone. Like people are not living there. So it definitely was a very strong test of my character. But at the same time, it was also, a very big testament as to what I've been able to build in such a short time, as an organization. My team was able to sell just over $10 million throughout the 44 days that I was there. So, it's not only were we not thriving, but we were like, literally we were growing, we were building, we weren't falling apart. Like we were continuing to grow, literally using the same principles and processes that I've been talking about, speaking and teaching on since I started doing all of that. So to me, that was, very big validation. Lots of people like to use the terminology of like battle tested or battle proven strategies. These are literal battle proven strategies, that work because it's been something that, from the moment that I've left there, I really had no doubt in my mind that, our team would be able to deliver because of the way that we were trained. I did have a $198 million contract that I had signed like, a month before all this stuff had happened. And, just because of the fact that, I had flown back and obviously there's a difference of opinions and, lots of different things. I also actually put myself directly in the scope of losing business because
For sure.
the purchasing group that was buying that, was a Middle Eastern purchasing group that were based out of Dubai. And, I can't share the full details as to who they were. I do have an NDA, but at the same time, it was a really, really big group that was about to do something massive in Miami, which really would have changed Miami, in terms of just the people who were coming here.
Yeah.
We were going to, develop like a massive piece of land here. Long story short, I'm on the battlefield, like literally, like I didn't have my phone for 3 days. And, I'm sitting here, going through, like I had my phone for a little bit and I'm catching up on messages and, my team is telling me, Joe, you have to call this guy back. You have to call this guy back. You have to call this guy back. We were in the middle of due diligence. So like we were in the middle of doing things that I didn't physically have to be there. It was more like and surveyors and reports and the team and, like back end stuff that for whatever reason the person decided to lash out and, the whole thing became about like, why are you there? What are you doing there? To where like, this is we can't really talk about percentages, but this was what I would consider a full percentage, deal, like a really, really big payday.
Oh, for sure.
And, I found like, without even thinking twice, I sort of found my brain telling this guy, with all due respect, like, I don't think that I should be the person that's representing you because, if you're going to, wish death upon me, for lack of a better way of saying that, like, I'm a very big believer of coexistence, right? So if someone can use, circumstances that are unfortunate to continue spreading hate and stuff, my response to that was, look, I really appreciate you. I think you're amazing. I think what you built is really cool. You're a billionaire, which is like literally like something I want to be one day, but I don't see this happening. And I ended up telling the owner, that I was withdrawing from representation. The owner is actually like a friend of mine, and the owner didn't want to do anything and without me. And at the same time, the owner didn't want to proceed with the contract. So, obviously what happens is, in these larger, longer due diligence periods, there's asks from both sides and everybody wants to cooperate, and the owner stopped cooperating and the whole deal blew up. The deal did trade though, just not too long ago. And it traded to a massive builder who, instead of, building, they wanted to build like, a big entertainment stadium with like racing cars and stuff. But it's going to be more like residential houses, which ultimately ends up helping the world. If you think about it, instead of building a massive attraction that's going to collect, obviously, listen, it does stimulate an economy, But at the same time, here in the state of Florida, we have a massive lack of affordable housing in Miami-Dade County. So being able to build, something like that, it's really cool to see how, almost a year later, the world is sort of working itself out. Like, energy is
So are
figuring
you
it out.
involved in that one?
I'm involved in that. Again,
Okay.
I sort of really pissed off the owner when I withdrew representation and blew up a $200 million contract. So obviously I'm not running the full deal,
Yeah.
just because that would literally be a miracle. But I am involved as a consultant, and I do have exclusivity, on a couple different things within
For
the
sure.
deal. So, at the end of the day, it all sort of equals itself out. And yeah, in the next 2 years, we should have, a massive development here with literally thousands of units that should be available both for rent and for sale, and also like mixed use, like a massive complex that's like 70 acres. It's really, really big.
So that's going to help out a lot.
So yeah, no, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, right, the whole goal of everything that we do, I know the question was about Israel, but the big focus goal for me as a person when I wake up in the morning is, what can I do today in order to help somebody get closer to where they want to go? Yeah. Right. So, because at the end of the day, I look at myself and I'm a servant leader. This is what I do as a passion. This is what I do for vacation. This is what I do, for business. And this is what I do for fun. So it's what we do. I live, breathe, eat, and I don't know if we can say this word, but I shit real estate too. Like, I do all of it. Right. Like, it's everything that I do. So instead of just being focused on the check of like, okay, if I sell $1 million, I'm going to be able to make X amount of money. And if I'm able to convince a buyer to sign an agreement with me, then I'm going to be able to force them to pay me X amount. It's not about any of that. It's really more about the focus saying, hey, look, how can I help this person get closer to where they want to go? How can I help them get to their goals? How can I help them make their reality better than what it is right now today?
Mm-hmm. I love that. So when you did go to Israel, like for me, I'm a business owner too. Like when we're without our phones, we're freaking out. You just said that you were like disconnected from yours for days. How did you maintain, or did you maintain, a sense of calmness? Well, and you're in a freaking war, and on top of that, but not freaking out about your business.
When someone's pointing a gun at you, it's very hard to think about, that contract that's being canceled. But at the same time, for a little bit less of a direct, blunt sort of response, I would say that for a very large part, I was nervous, and I was going, like, that part of my brain was sitting idle, so much to a point that, I actually met the CEO of our company,
I know.
Oleg, while I was there in uniform. And, when I met him, the first thing that I said was, you're not going to recruit me, once I figured out who he was. The second thing that I told him was, no, seriously, you're not going to recruit me. Like, I am the top 1% agent in Miami. We have, a bunch of business and everything that's going on. And I was like, let's sit and talk business. And his response to me was like, no, we're not going to talk business, because right now is not the time to sit and talk business. And he instead, he was offering me help. He was offering me food. He was offering me, a place to freshen up.
Wow.
Anybody who's served in the Army knows that you never take a shower in middle of anything. You take a shower when you're done, because you're so dirty and so gross that once you take the clothing off, you can't put the clothing, it just doesn't work. You can't put it back. So I was really grateful for the offer, but he ended up like making me sit down on his couch in his living room. Now, this man lives in like a big, gorgeous house. And you think about it, like, I'm dirty. Well, everything is like all over the place. I've been standing outside. I haven't taken a shower in days. And he's like, hey, here's coffee. Like, here's cookies. Here's, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, the fact that this guy can put himself aside, forget about business, forget about everything. We're in a war, right? And he's offering me help. It was something that really struck a chord within me, which, something that I filed. I met him when I was 30 days in, 30, 40 days, somewhere in there. And I was in Israel for like a week and a half longer, past that, until, unfortunately, from all of the people that I started with, we lost about half of the people that we started with. So, it's like 34 people. So like, when you think about that, it's like at a certain point, it just doesn't make sense as a squad to continue going, because, battalion squad to continue going, because it just doesn't work anymore. So, we got switched out. and I ended up coming back here to America. And honestly, it took me like a really long time to plug back in. Like I've been blessed that I have this, unique ability to make things look really seamless. But in the end of the day, it was a very, very like blunt and rough transition to where, getting to a point that, I was able to get back out there and able to be part of things and able to do things again. It was a little stressful. So it did take, some time, but here we are back. And even now, I mean, there's a lot of things still happening in Israel. They've asked me a few times to go back, moving on, but I made a promise to my mom and I made a promise to my family that I wouldn't. No, I'm not even kidding. Like my mom found out that I was going back, again, while I was on the plane. Like I was literally on the plane on my way back, and I was just like, hey, so I'm gonna fly back. I don't know when I'll call you next, but I'll be fine.
Wow, that's crazy. You know what's insane? So when I heard that you met Tamir, and what is it when all that was going on? And I don't know if you had met him yet, but it was somewhere during that same time. I interviewed him on the podcast, and before we went on the air, he was like, all right, I want to let you know that if I have to leave like in the middle of this, it's because the sirens are going off and I have to get in the bunker. And he sat there and he didn't have to leave. So no sirens went off while he was on it, but he was like so calm and cool and collective. And he's like, and I was sitting there like, number one, I'm super appreciative that you're in the middle of a war and you're on a podcast with me. That's just like unheard of. But then when I heard that you had met with him too, I didn't know if you had like sought him out or just how that even happened about, or was it just fate? Like that's insane, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's funny because Tamir's a guy that no matter where he is, he always is focused on, the end goal and on making things happen. And, that's kind of how he was with me. I met him totally by chance. I ended up getting his Facebook Messenger. So I messaged him and I was like, hey, I saw you roll around because Tamir drives a G-Wagon, right? And like in Israel. So in Israel, a G-Wagon is like a couple $100,000. Like here in America it is too, but like it's almost double what it is in Israel.
Okay.
And I drive a G-Wagon, right? So like I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, this is so cool that like I literally see my car. Yeah, it's a little older, but like there's one here in Israel. This is freaking cool.
Yes.
So I was like, yo, it was super cool to meet you. Let's link up, like let's connect, like let's talk, right? And he was just like, yeah, like come by, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like, so I definitely believe that it was fate.
Sure.
Coming back to, we don't like Jewish people, right? Any Jewish people watching this, Jewish people don't like the word fate. We like the word divine providence because it sounds, more like in line with all of the things that have happened. And honestly, there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. Like I will promise you that there have been more times that I've like called out, reached out, spoken to God, whatever phase I was in, in that within those 44 days. That like literally like it's very going through that whole experience. You're looking for reasons, you're looking for things, you're looking to be able to, touch and feel and see. And I can tell you that I've seen it. I felt it. I mean, on my arm, I have, a tattoo here, but the big thing here that I have here, I have these marks of times that I could have caught a bullet. Times that there was somebody out here who was literally pointing something at me. See, the Israeli army has rules of engagement. The rules of engagement of the Israeli army are the tightest rules of engagement in the world. And in order to be able to like use a weapon, like justifiably, you have to have three things. You have to have the ability of the person who's holding the weapon to actually hurt you. So like if a kid's holding a gun, obviously you're not going to shoot the kid.
Yeah.
If the person who's holding the gun is like has the distance, like within this space to be able to kill you. So if someone is, standing at me and they're holding a rock, like obviously, I'm wearing body armor, like it's not going to hurt me. And then the third thing is they have to actually be like in the process of trying to hurt me. So they can't, just because someone's holding a gun doesn't mean I can shoot them. They have to like be pointing it at me and screaming that they want to kill me or whatever it is. So
that's insane.
Right. And that's like, there's a very high casualty toll that the army takes because of the fact that it's, we're not just trying to get a shot off. Like, that's
Yeah.
not what it's about. So, being in that position, 5 times put me in a spot where, when I came back, it made it very hard to transition, because you deal with things like survivor's guilt, and you deal with things like, even reliving, there was one time we were in a field, and everything was just like, this trek that we were supposed to do was supposed to take about 35 minutes. It took us 6 days.
Wow.
Right. So,
Holy
like, when
cow.
you're in that deep of being embedded in something, it automatically ends up taking some sort of toll on you, which is,
I bet.
where I feel, in a weird way, blessed that I've been able to experience a lot of the trauma that I've experienced, because the reality is that going through those traumatic experiences in my life leading up until that helped me, because it already gave me a lot of other tools that I've learned how to use in order to be able to actually navigate and move forward. So, in a really weird way, it's giving me that ability to be able to cope with that. So, not that it's something that I would go back to, or something that I would relive, but when the call came in to show up, and I heard that all of my friends and everybody that I know and everybody that I've done this with is going to be there, then there wasn't a doubt in my mind that I would have to make this happen, because of the commitment.
Yep, for sure. You said you would. That's
Yep.
crazy. Well, I'm glad that you made it back okay. So then when you were saying, when you met Tamir, you're like, you're not going to recruit me, like, seriously, not going to recruit me. But then you did. So you guys, if y'all don't know, Joe was with EXP, which is where I met him. Okay, then what did happen to make you transition?
You see, it becomes really clear sometimes within your life that people who have sworn to you that they will be there, love you, and support you, and appreciate you, and accept you for everything, um, sometimes they forget how to do that. And um, in business, it's very important to remain clear-headed when it comes to looking at the bottom line. Regardless of how people try to make you feel, or of how people don't make you feel or miss the boat on making you feel, it's more important about looking at 3 things. Number one is our core values. What are the things that we stand for, right? What are the things that we do? Number 2 is, what is our mission? What are we trying to accomplish as real estate agents here in South Florida in order to be able to help our clients? And the third thing is, what's the vision, right? Where do we really want to see ourselves go with the company that we are currently, or with the company that we want to become? Because those 3 things allow us now to end up collectively aligning towards accomplishing goals. So we need to be able to have those 3 things, as a person, as a team, as a company. We also have to have a purpose, right? MVP, mission, vision, purpose. Like, you have to have real reasons as to why you're pushing yourself forward. But from a business standpoint, you also have to incorporate the goals. You have to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you're also filling in your bottom line. You're also filling in, that bottom right-hand corner of the spreadsheet. It's still showing positive. And the more that I tried, I came back, tried to make it work. The bunch of different things that were happening, I just realized that, if I wanted to continue building the culture that I'm building and maintaining the life that I'm helping my agents create, I need to make a change. So looking around, I actually compared a couple different companies. I was looking at some of the bigger box brokerages, some of the smaller brokerages, because there really are a lot of options in today's day and age. I mean, there are so many. Everybody and their mom is either a real estate agent or a real estate broker. And, because of that, like, it's very important to make that decision. So for me, what I was looking at, number one was training and capability, right? The number one thing that's most important to me is, I would rather spend time training agents than sending my agents out and telling them to go look for leads, because we provide leads. And, a lead is a definition. A lead isn't an actual business deal, right? A lead is, hey, this is somebody who's expressed interest by saying, hi, I might want to buy real estate. I might want to lease real estate. I might want to, invest in real estate. So having the skills and the ability and the processes to be able to deliver on those things, it has nothing to do with the office that you're from. It has everything to do with the training that the office that you're with provides. So, I really like the fact that as a company, we have a very robust platform to a point where a person, the only person in the world that I literally believe has a computer embedded in their body, our president, Sharon,
Yeah.
I literally think he's AI. He's literally AI, and he's so quick and so sharp and so on top of it. But he makes the time, and he recorded a buyer presentation, a seller presentation. He does a bunch of trainings. He has a bunch of things. I mean, this guy
too.
He has more followers on his personal page than the brokerage has followers, right? And like when you sit and you look at that, it's like, okay, this guy has a massive, like I have over 100 people that I follow who aren't part of our brokerage that all follow him, because it's sharing knowledge to me that I find to be most impactful. And then together with that, you combine a system that makes things very easy. The only system that I know to date that has a fully functioning app that you can literally deposit a paycheck on the app and get paid the same day. Like, it's very cool how that works. Yeah. In the beginning of my real estate career, literally every single check was important. So like when I had a commission check coming in, it was like, yo, this money's coming. My broker said it's going to be here today. Why isn't it here today? And why can't my broker pay me with a wire transfer? Like, why do they have to give me a check? Whereas now, it's not only is it not a wire transfer, it's ACH, which is like even quicker. And well, I mean, because ACHs can get delivered during at night and wires can't. So, and then you also have the fact that the customer support and the communication. My broker called me when we switched over on Sunday. Like, I know that up where y'all are at, like calling somebody on Sunday might be a big no-no, but here in Florida, it's not really like as much of a big deal.
We call people every day.
All right, cool, perfect. Just listen, I was up in the West and in the Midwest. Like, I learned that there are certain states that actually it's illegal to sell alcohol. After certain days.
Yes.
So we have a team up where you're at, like not too far away from you. So I need to learn all of the cultural things about the states. Just so like that. It all. Like we're doing business with more people, so you gotta be culturally aware. And with that, I slowly started looking in, and I was like, you know what? I think this is a really cool idea. We should do this. And then I started reaching out to other people, and I was like, hey, like, how do you feel about what's going on? Like it's. I'm sitting here and I'm looking, and I'm like, wow, all these people are all in this on this similar mindset. Like, all these people are looking to grow. They're looking to help other people move forward. And they're also looking to continue being able to create something that will help future people move forward. And that's what I love so much about our company, is the fact that they're very future focused, constantly rolling out new things. You can see up here, well, not up here, the Real Luxury logo.
Yep.
Like, to me, that was something that I actually wasn't sure if I would qualify, because a lot of the properties that I sell in like the 2 million plus range are multifamily or buildings, right? So I went and I spoke to the broker, and I realized that the qualifications for this program are actually done through a third-party company. So a lot of other brokerages, they have luxury divisions, they have luxury departments, and it's just a matter of saying, okay, you know what? You've done enough. So I feel like you now belong here. You can now use this logo, or you can pay an extra $300 and you can be part of this logo.
Yep.
It's not about that over here. And this is also the reason people ask me why I joined the Army in Israel and not here, when my grandfather is a full-bird colonel in the United States military.
Wow.
So like, why should I go there? And it was the same answer that I gave them, which is, from my angle, I really want to work for the things that I've earned, right? Because I feel like there's a different confidence that you have when you've earned something versus when you're given something.
For sure.
In the Army in Israel, I was training with like sons of top-ranking commanders and sons of prime ministers and ministers and people who were just like up in the government. No preferential treatment. No, hey, you get to go before everybody. Because remember this, if you come in and you're entitled, then during war, people are going to look at you and say, okay, so where are all your people to help you now, right? And I never, it's not that I really believe that, but at the same time, it's sort of the mindset of like, I would never be okay with, not working the same as everybody else and then expecting to be treated. It just doesn't sit with me. So same thing over here, right? Which is the work you put in is the work you'll be rewarded for, which is something that I really, really love about our company. And it's given us the ability, to be able to grow and to be able to level up. It's also given me the confidence to where if I bring somebody into our organization and they don't end up fitting the organization, or their expectations are unrealistic, or they try, to do things that won't necessarily help us get to where we got to go, I just turn around and say, listen, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. It's my fault, my decision. Blame it on me. It's fine. No problem. I'll take the blame for it. But just, do you want fries and ketchup in the limo, or just want a limo? Or you want, like, what do you like? What are we doing here? Right? Let's get this going. And that's something that a lot of people look at me and that they're blown away as to how quickly I can move through things.
Yeah.
Right. The whole mission really is adapt and overcome, right? Figure out what it is, figure out how you got to make it happen, and then figure out a way to overcome it. Because the longer that you sit victimizing yourself or victimizing the situation, what ends up happening is you end up just lowering your own frequency. And then when you end up lowering your own frequency, you end up going lower and lower and lower and lower. I don't like to use the parable of a mountain, because climbing up a mountain means that you can never take a break. I like to use the idea of steps, right? Where every step you can take a step and then you can wait, because it's a full platform on its own. Sure. Matter of fact, on the top of every staircase, especially those that have like 2 staircases to get to the next floor, you have a little platform. That platform is there to be able to rest. You can take the time to rest. Yeah. But just remember that you're not going down. You need to continue climbing up. So take as much time as you need, but whenever you're ready, we're going to keep going.
Right.
And that's something that I really feel our brokerage aligns with.
So when you left EXP, you had a team then, didn't you?
I did. We had a much larger team than what I have right now.
Okay.
We had a total of 17 people on our team when I switched over. When I went to Israel, I lost 5 of those agents, which, I'm not gonna, like, again, it's just part of the collateral damage that ends up coming in, with things. But at the same time, it's like, people don't realize that, and we keep coming back to this point, but it's just very important for me to put it out there, that people don't realize that this war that's happening in Israel, it's not a war against territory, and it's not a war of people. It's not a war of who's right or who's wrong. It's a war on terrorism. Like the people that are pushing this war are people who are fueled by money and are fueled by hatred, and they're not fueled by anything other than that, as you can see in every which way that they're going about it. Like Israel's being attacked from every single side, and all of the attacks are being done the same way. They're being done by terror groups, right? It has nothing to do with the actual people. And it's unfortunate that there's a massive collateral damage from both ends. I mean, we're hosting an event here in Miami for October 7th, and we're going through the list. There's over 2,700 people, civilians, that were killed in the war. Wow. Forget about the 1,000 people that were killed at this music festival, right? Wow. Which, by the way, were like 12 or 18 different nationalities of like people who have nothing to do with the country, but were literally just there, enjoying like a party. Right. So when you look and you see that, like, as a person, like everybody who I know knows me, right? And people who I don't know also know me. And if there's one thing that you've seen across the board with our organization, is that we put people first. So if we're going to now go about continuing, after the war and after coming back and after reacclimating, if someone's going to turn around, someone's going to say, listen, I don't believe that these people have a right to exist. You're essentially, it has nothing to do with a country. It has to do with, understanding that you're dealing with millions of lives, like people who are alive. And just by the fact that they were born into the world gives them a certain right to be able to live. It doesn't matter if they're Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or anything. Right. And because of that, I literally found myself telling agents, listen, like, if this is what you're going to do, it's not in line with the morals or values of our company. So we lost a couple of those agents, and then we lost 2 more agents, in the transition, because they didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay. They were nervous. And then we had some agents who had listings and deals who were nervous about switching over. So what I basically did was I did my team a favor, and I left the company before everybody else. Because when I left the company, it essentially retroactively dissolved the team, but it grandfathered everybody in to their splits. So we had a mega icon team, the highest level team that exists within EXP. Being in the top 1%, it gave us things like $4,000 cap, which is a super low cap, very, very minimal transaction fees. and very minimal splits, which was, a big attractor to some of the agents who were on our team. Ironically, those agents who were attracted to that split were also the agents who left first. I wonder why, right? People who join you for money, leave you for money. People who join you for ideology, leave you for ideology. So they ended up leaving. We ended up moving over to Real because of the production that I had with Real. So with Real, I capped in 30 days. I hit the elite agent in 75 days. And this is all personal production. So in climbing up on those levels, what I did was I looked back at Real and I said, guys, we need to build something just like what I had at EXP. And the reality is that Real actually has something that's even better, to where the people that we have on our team participate on our team nationally. So if somebody's on our team and they're participating in a different state that I'm not licensed in, they become a team leader and they pay the same team splits. So they don't have to pay, right? And that's literally something that we've been able to accomplish only because of the fact that we have this massive level of volume, we have this massive level of production. So if someone's going to go to the company and say, hi, I want to open a team in 5 states and I want my agents to only pay a smaller cap, Real's going to say, okay, but as a company, how much money are you netting, right? And when you net over $500,000, $1 million, and then the team is and the company is able to really make money as well because of the transactions you're doing, then this is a golden rule I've learned. If you're able to come to somebody with a beneficial value proposition, 99% of the time they'll take it, right? Yeah. So we have massive commitments that we have to handle, massive things that we need to do in order to really have these numbers, but we can offer agents super low caps. We can offer agents 24/7 support. We can offer agents, deals that are totally handled, not by me, not by them, but by the angels, which is our virtual support staff, the same very people who helped my company continue growing, even when I was completely not available. So it only makes sense to be able to be in a position to where if we have resources and we have things and we're growing and we're scaling, I can keep this all to myself. And I don't have to get involved with all the agents, because every agent has problems, every agent has issues, every agent has things they have to figure out. So from my end, it's like, why even deal with this? But then I go back and I remind myself that the reason why we're here, the reason why we're doing this is because of the commitment that we have to our business. It's because of the commitment that we have to the people around us, growing and improving the world.
So now with your team, so do you have agents there with you in Miami?
Yeah, so here in Miami, we have 5 agents. We actually cover from Miami all the way up to Gainesville, which is about 4.5 hours away. We're working our way from Miami to Tampa. So the goal basically is to bring in the triangle and then work our way down. We do also have a listing right now in the Florida Keys. So we're really are spread out. The Florida Keys is about 2 hours away from us. So we cover a very, very solid 700-mile radius. When all is said and done, here in the state of Florida, it's pretty much the whole state, besides the Florida Panhandle. In the state of Texas, we cover Dallas, Fort Worth, McKinney, all those areas, all central. Chad's the leader of that. I know you know Chad. And then in New York, New Jersey, my brother is actually, so blessed that I'm in a spot that, my family actually trusts me to help them make money. I think it's really cool. So, so my brother actually runs the offices there in New York and New Jersey. And then we have agents that are spread out individually in states like Connecticut, in Ohio, we have in Kentucky. We're working our way into Indiana, into Wisconsin, really just trying to make a presence in places where people need a little bit of a boost of energy. These places that are a little lower, a little slower, a little, okay, this is cool. I only have 1 expired to dial today. So we're like, okay, fine. So if that's all you have, then you got to get out now. You got to take over your whole town, even if your whole town is only 350 people.
Right. So then do you guys have physical offices in each location?
So physical locations we have here in Miami. Okay. And then in New York, we're in the process of putting something together. The real thing is that when you create a physical location, you actually have, you can't just bring agents there when you want, right? This, you have to really maintain a certain level within the office. And if it's not happening, it needs to come from you. So I need to make sure that I have that, level of energy and I have that ability to be able to do that. And that's why what we have over here, it's an office, but it's not a real estate office. So like, it's not registered with the state. So like, no, we don't technically have an office. I know it's live. So like, I have to sort of more explain it because I don't need somebody to go out of compliance and say, Joe Brikman said he has an office in Miami. But we do, but it's not a real estate office. It's my personal office. I don't meet with clients there. I don't bring clients there or anything like that. We are in the process of getting something set up. It's just a matter of learning and understanding the real needs of the agents of the marketplace, because if we are going to open an office, we're going to become a market center. And, I don't want to use language from a different brokerage, but what I use the term center for is it's really, that's where all the energy is coming from, right? So people come to our office in order to be able to pick up on the pulse and see what's going on. So that's what it is. We're going to be a pulse office. We're going to keep the pressure running. We're going to keep that momentum going. So in order to be able to do that, we have to make sure, that everything is set up in a way that can work, not just compliance, not just insurance, but also really from an agent perspective and standpoint. So, that's really what the goal is. In the state of Texas, we do have a physical office out of Miami. So that's there. Chad runs that. We actually have a full training center there, a podcast room, a bunch of really cool stuff. You should come check it out.
I will.
And then maybe you can stream or film one of your podcasts with Chad. From the office. It's a really cool spot there. I got to check with Chad and make sure the access and everything. I'm just playing. You can come whenever you want. But yeah, we'll be very happy to have you. And then, New York and New Jersey, we have, again, also like a WeWork, where people can come and print and do that type of stuff. But nothing in terms of solid physical location. Real does have a very solid presence in New York. And there are physical offices there too. Which is kind of where we refer our agents. At the end of the day, the agents, they join our team, to get involved in the culture. People that join my team are not going to be the people who are going to join your team. Not most of the time anyways, just because some people align with your personality better than they align with mine.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And that's the beauty about what we do, is that our brokerage encourages collaboration and it encourages working within agents. This is a very good point to end on, where, when we come and we go through the whole angle of, hey, I want to join your company, but I have questions and I live in Arcana or Texarkana, right? Like I live in the middle of nowhere. Who can I talk to? Like I can say, hey, there's an agent who's over there who can help you. They're probably the best bet for you to go. But instead of me just having to hand them off, we can co-sponsor, we can bring somebody into the company together to where that person is able to benefit both sides, me and them. Because for some reason, there's been this very big thing knocked into a lot of agents' heads where, hey, if I'm not paying this person in revenue share or this person's not making money off me, I can't call them. I can't ask them for help. I can't approach them. And it's very sad that that's what's ended up happening in the industry. And I believe that, our company, the way that we're doing things, the way that we go about doing things is, hey, it's not about the money. Let's focus about helping the people. Like, let's be kind, right? Work hard, but be kind. This is the number one core value of our company. And I feel like, when you hear that, when you see that, when you align with that, you really start realizing that, wow, it's so much better out here.
It is. So Joe, as we come to an end for people, where does Joe go from here? Like, what's the goals? What's the vision? I know you have a big one.
The goal is to help as many people as possible, buy, sell, rent, invest, and join up and sell real estate. So both from an agent standpoint and from a buyer or investor or seller standpoint, we're very unique to where we actually recognize our agents in a client category, and our agents are actually also considered clients of culture, clients of collaboration, clients of success, clients of education. So we need to reach our agents in a sense where we're also helping them in what they're doing, but we're not helping them as in like, oh yeah, I'll get to it when I can get to it. We treat our agents with the same level of priority as we do clients. So if an agent has a question, they have a place that they can go to, a resource that they can go to right away. And then when it comes to the vision again, it's to impact as many people as possible. So combined with serving clients and, you know, dealing with people, it's also being impactful in the way that we go about doing things. It's also being very intentional in the way that we go about doing these things. And, you know, I'm really grateful to have people like you in our network to be able to do this with, you know, and to be able to hop on podcasts and share referrals or tag other agents and help growing together.
Super cool. I think you're awesome. I think you're amazing. I think everything that you've done and you stand for is really cool. I love your faith and I love that you stand on that. And I love that you're out there. You don't really give a crap what people say or think about you. You're going to do what's right and what you feel is right. And the rest of them can, you know, jump off a bridge, whatever. But you're
Well, don't
going to
jump off a bridge. The rest of them can go have a coffee, go have a bagel. They can go relax. We don't got to go that crazy, but I'm definitely with you in that. And I appreciate the sentiment, which is yes, 100%. If they're not for you, they are not people that you need to be around, right? The old mindset used to be if they're not for you, they're against you. Maybe if you're in war, but aside from that, like the people who aren't for you, it's okay. Let them go be for somebody else. You can go be for whatever you want. You don't need to necessarily clash. And I want to shout out again. I see a lot of the trainings that you're doing and, you know, the classes that you're inviting people to. People don't realize how valuable having someone like you in their market is as a resource, because you don't get that anywhere else, you know, and seeing that in the way that it's going, it's encouraging us to get out and do what we do and do the way, you know, we're trying to show for agents as well. So thank you for being that baseline for a lot of people. And thank you for continuing to push. And again, it's an honor to be here.
Oh, you're super cool. Someone asked me the other day, how do you get up and continue doing what you do every day? And I said, well, number one, I'm probably crazy. But number two, because no one ever did it for me. And I raised my hand and said I would do it. Like, I don't want any agent to ever go through not knowing what to do, not knowing how to be successful. I'll freaking show you. You just show up, you know, because nobody else is out there doing it. That's why I do it. And that's why you do it.
That's the name of the game.
I love it. Hey, Joe, how can people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
Google me, Joe Brikman. You can find me anywhere. My phone number, if y'all want to shoot me a text, it's 929-842-3080. Yeah, that's a cool way to get in touch. And then you also have socials. Gotta Call Joe is my Instagram. It's a spin-off of Better Call Saul. Yeah, Joe Brikman on socials. We're pretty much everywhere.
I love it. You guys, he runs an amazing organization. You hear he's very passionate about helping. So we definitely reach out to him. He's here to help you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Bye, y'all.